Hello, I'm WriterMaven. If a lot of my regulars know me, I focus on Judgment Day and Live and all kinds of Dominik stuff. This is my special writing wrestling receipts for Saturday Night Main Event. Started off the bat, my impression of this special event is that it was really, really enjoyable. Some things I kind of tuned out of, but that's indicative because me personally not being interested in it, or it's just didn't capture my attention. But it's not like the show itself was bad. On the whole, the show was pretty good. It had one negative thing, which I know y'all know I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to table that for a little bit. But I will say, as a child of the 80s and the 90s, showing my age here, I really, really liked I really, really like the aesthetic. Saturday Night Main Event was a little bit before my time of watching wrestling, but it still had all the aesthetics of what I grew up with when I was watching Monday Night Raw when it was the only show. So you had the see-through barricades, the metal barricades, you had the red and white ropes, you had the refs wearing the old school uniform, the blue shirt with the black bow tie. It had all those aesthetics. Jesse Ventura was a complete hoot. I'm going to talk about more of his comments later, but he was a hoot. He is the type of commenter that you want on the show. He is that heel commentator, that heel color commentator like Bobby the Brain Heenan that you need on the show. He put over people in a heelish way, so you could talk up the heel without tearing them down and tearing them down in the eyes of the fans. And I think that's an art that's lost with a lot of the color commentators now. They always want to tear down the heel or tear down the face, and then nobody can recover. But a good color commentator will know how to build up a face and a heel without tearing them down in the audience, if y'all get my drift. Jesse has that. And I really liked how he talked up Liv, and I liked how he talked up Dominik too. And I'll get into that comment later. But first and foremost, I got to talk about like the walk-ins. Liv, we all got to see La Familia with Carlito. I'm not putting Carlito with La Familia just yet, but that was so cute and it was just so needed to see La Familia and Carlito together. Raquel, Big Mommy Cool was serving. Liv looked great, Dom looked great, Carlito looked great, but Raquel, my goodness, woman, she looked great. I am really happy for her that she's looking like that. Going through all her mass syndromes and going through, experiencing that. But she looked great walking in. She had the really funny bit of handing Carlito her bag, and he just drops it like it was super heavy, and it was just funny. Carlito is hilarious. Carlito is hilarious, and you need that humor. So if we're going to like a split that way with La Familia and plus Carlito, I'm not going to mind it because Carlito brings humor, and you need somebody. And also with Carlito, you need somebody to take the pins too. You have to think about that when it comes to factions and things like that. You want somebody to take the pins. You don't want Dom to take the pins all the time, and that's what he served when he was Judgment Day, or at least the second iteration of Judgment Day. So if they want to keep Carlito around, we can keep Carlito around. But it was just funny. Him and Raquel have a really good kind of vibe going there. And somebody on the X said that they were all four of them were coming back from a double date, and I can believe that. And then Liv had the Monday Night Morgan megaphone. I don't know who got that for her, but that was funny too. She's just being really obnoxious in the heel way, and that's what she needs to do. She's obnoxious. Her and Dom are obnoxious, insufferable heels, and they need to do that more. Somebody had the idea that Dom got her the megaphone as a gift, but going into the match, one thing I will say negative wise as a whole for Saturday Night Main Event is just the match length. I think they should have taken Sami versus Drew out to give all the other matches time to breathe because it felt very rushed. Even before going into Liv and Iyo, the match ending with Drew and Sami felt very abrupt. I did not like it. The whole kind of the production wise, it was kind of off. You had production coming in really abruptly after commercial breaks. Y'all don't have experience producing stuff from the USA Network and Fox and all that. It just felt very weird. But I think they needed to take Drew and Sami out. Drew and Sami could have been on Monday Night Raw. They didn't need that match. But it is what it is. So, Iyo versus Liv. Thank y'all for the likes. Iyo versus Liv. This was a hard hitting match. We finally got La Familia escorting Liv to the top at the front part of the ramp. I really enjoyed that. I'm glad Dom was back. He didn't take not Dom and Raquel didn't escort Liv to the ring. And I get why. That was like a long way to go. But I really enjoyed um, Dom and Liv coming out with Liv. They didn't have to be at ringside, but just showing up for her was good. Same thing with Iyo. You had damage control with Dakota and Cody, and that was cool too. That's fine. I had no problems with that. And then we get into the match. But first, I gotta talk about Liv's gear. Liv's gear was on point. She is matching Dom more and more. We have the black and white gear. We have the fringe of Dom. We have the paisley. So that's an all Dom aesthetic. And if y'all have been looking at me on the X, I have been talking about how certain aesthetics are shifting towards Dom. They have released Dom shirts, tarot card wise, with a Judgment Day tarot card and Dom as the Fool of the tarot card, and they are both on point, and they are putting a lot of spotlight on Dom. And then there's a new Judgment Day Hot Topic T-shirt that I really want to get, which is the Reaper's scythe. It's in the form of a D. And if I'm in my post, like, Judgment Day isn't going away. It's just going to be under new management, and we'll see why later on with Finn. But to get back to Liv and Iyo, that was a hard hitting match. Liv probably got her nose broken by Iyo with that kick. But we got to see a hard hitting match. No interference, which is good. None. Nothing from Dom, nothing from Raquel, nothing from Damage Control, nothing from She Whom Must Not Be Named. I'll get to her in a bit. But it was a hard hitting match, and Liv wins clean. 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the thing. So, Liv, Dom, and Raquel are going back up the walkway there. We got a really cute moment of Dom wiping away Liv's nose because she was bloody there. Actually, that a lot of the shots of Liv in the ring with the bloody nose was like a really badass moment for Liv. So I'm glad. I hate that she got her nose busted, but that gives her more of a badass edge that was needed considering who she's dealing with all these months. But so they're walking up, they're celebrating, they're happy. I'm cool. I'm vibing with my bestie because we're watching the show at the same time. And I was like, please, and I'm begging and praying, please do not hit that music. Please do not hit that music. And as soon as they get up there to that top of the ramp, this is my brutality. Me and my best friend at the exact same moment. And remind you, this is the bestie that likes Rhea. Keep this in mind. Both of us, exact same moment. Get the fuck out of here. And God fucking damn it. We were like, holy crap. Why? Why couldn't you let Dom, Raquel, and Liv have a moment of celebration all to themselves? Why do you have to inject Rhea's ass into it? It wasn't necessary. You could have saved that for Raw. I would have expected it at Raw. I have no problem with her showing up on Raw. I really don't. But why did she have to inject her ass into a moment of celebration? Good God, that was just so fucking annoying. Just annoying. I mean, I'm vibing, I'm happy, I'm enjoying the aesthetics, and then as soon as she shows up, it just it it didn't kill my mood, but it's just like, God damn. But what there's some positives to this. One, Rhea didn't attack anybody, which is good. Two, notice how Liv wasn't scared. We saw this in the match with Iyo. She's getting that confidence back. She might not be at a crash out level yet, but she has a new demeanor now. And even though people are expecting Rhea to take this match back at whatever Raw or Royal Rumble or whatever, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to take it all the way to a WrestleMania, some kind of way. I don't think Rhea's getting that title back that quickly. But with Rhea, because if they give the Rhea the title now, there's nobody for her to fight. And you want to say, and they people still want to bring up Iyo. Well, Iyo can win the Royal Rumble. You really think that Iyo is going to win against Rhea? Come on now. And notice how as soon as Iyo left, she was an afterthought. That's see, people were all thinking that we're gonna get this triple threat match, and then Io's gonna win, and then Rhea, and then we're gonna have that match at WrestleMania. You saw how quickly and how fast Iyo was treated as an afterthought after that match. You saw it. Iyo was nowhere to be seen. She wasn't thought of. Nothing. Liv got her win. Iyo was gone. They couldn't even linger in the ring for Iyo. She was gone and out of other people's minds. But that's what that was with Liv and but Rhea's with Liv and Iyo and Rhea. But for fuck's sake, let them have a moment of celebration without her sticking her without them sticking Rhea's big head into it. And again, notice how everything again, I keep telling people all of these things are curated to get pops. You're gonna pop for at that particular moment. The normal crap. They can't keep doing this shit. The crowds are gonna get wise to her, and it's not gonna work. You can't keep curating these pops. But that's my only negative with the whole thing. Liv looked great. She got her win. Oh, and by the way, if y'all look at social media discourse, people are all whining about Io's lost clean. Why couldn't Dom and Raquel interfere? I thought y'all always said that Liv always needed some interference and she couldn't win clean and she wasn't a legit champ. What? She wins clean and now y'all wanted Dom and Raquel to interfere? What? Just because it's Io? Now y'all wanted the interference? Make it make sense. And then, well, somebody, well, they could, you wouldn't do, you would expect Liv to win against somebody like Zelina. Why is it that Zelina would have to be get the match that was won clean? You see how shitty that is? So Zelina should have got a clean pin on her, and Zelina's not my favorite. She does some things that really hurt me, but she's not my favorite. But you want Zelina to get the clean pin, but with Io, she needs to be protected. Io doesn't need to be protected. She just won at War Games. She already had the win. Io did not need that protection. Liv needed the clean pin, so she got it. Now this is the big case of be careful what you wish for. Y'all bitched and moaned. No, I'm not talking about my viewers here. I'm talking about in general on the in the IWC. Y'all bitched and moaned about Liv not winning clean, about always needing distractions, always needing Dom and Raquel, all that bitching and moaning when no other heel has to deal with that bitching and moaning. Have y'all ever seen another heel that needed to win clean? Did people bitch when Gunther didn't win clean? Did people bitch when who else is another heel right now? When Roman won dirty? Now he got complaints towards the end of his reign, but in the beginning, nobody was bitching about him winning not getting a clean win. No heel gets bitched at for not winning clean. But when it was Liv, people wanted to bitch because I guess people were conditioned about Rhea, but that was just Rhea running over people. She's ran over people and won clean because they built her up so tough. That's the only reason why she was winning clean. Otherwise, and then for a lot of those wins, it wasn't really clean. Dom was in there interfering, and they forget that too. It's kind of like how, because before this, it's really funny. Like before this match, people were talking about, oh, Dom shouldn't really interfere. And I'm like, okay, so where was all this bitching and moaning when Dom was helping Rhea? But now that he's with Liv, now it's a problem. And then now, after the match, y'all wanted Dom and Raquel to interfere. The double standards is something else. And then now I'm seeing comments, oh, it's Liv Hogan. Liv is the last person you could be calling Hogan. If anybody's getting called Hogan, it's Rhea. Rhea with her build, and that's not going to work for me, brother, type attitude. It's Rhea. Rhea's the one that's been protected. Rhea's the one that gets the pins. Rhea's been manhandling this whole title feud for months now. It's Rhea. It ain't Liv. I don't even see how you could call Liv Hogan. Just because she's winning doesn't make her Hogan. It's all about your presentation. Nothing about her presentation screams Liv Hogan. Like, now y'all want to make it Liv Hogan and crying about her pinning Iyo. Get the fuck out. Anyway, Liv needed it. I'm happy with it. Really, really happy. There was, like I said, there was a 20% chance for Triple H's bullshit, but common sense prevailed. I'm glad Liv won. La Familia was looking good. They got their win, and at least they got to celebrate a little bit um, before Rhea stuck her big nose into everything. But going back around to Jesse Ventura, Jesse, I love that he gave Liv her props for taking that shot to the face. And he also praised Dom for pretty much bagging Liv. So it's like it was like a two for a compliment. And that's Jesse. Jesse's a heel commentator, so that's what he's gonna do. So he praised Liv for taking that shot to the face and then praised Dom for bagging Liv. So that was a really cool shout out by Jesse. That's a legend, an awesome legend. And I encourage y'all, while the archives are still on Peacock, to go look at some of his older stuff because he's really good. And listen to his commentary. His commentary is up there with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and that's who a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these commentators need to emulate more. Triple threat match between Damien, Finn, and Gunther. Excuse me. So Gunther wins as I expected, and he pinned Finn. Now I knew they weren't going to pin Damien because, of course, they weren't going to pin Damien. And they did the ultimate cheap hometown pop for Damien. Y'all notice that? And even then, I don't really think it was that big. But they gave Damien the hometown pop, and I don't even think it was that big. I tried toning that up. I don't think it was that big. I need to probably go back and listen to it, but it's not what you would expect for a face. It was a pretty good triple threat match. But Gunther pretty much pulls out the win so he can get his confidence back. But notice how nobody came for Finn. Nobody. This was another match that didn't have interference, but it was glaring on behalf of Finn. I really thought Dom was going to cause Finn accidentally on purpose, like he kind of did with like Liv, but he didn't do that. And I think that was probably better because it was just really glaring. You know, he was all about watch and learn, kid, and if you follow Finn, you win. And he ends up getting pinned 1, 2, 3. That clubhouse on Monday is going to be interesting. This is where I hope in the clubhouse we get shade from Dom and Liv to Finn because he deserves it. And this is also where I think you can either get the titles on the War Raiders, which I really don't get why. And you're just pulling it off the Judgment Day just because of booking. And I'm not sure what War Raiders could do with the titles at this particular point. So this is probably where you could be. Finn is in his demon cave somewhere sulking, and then Freebird the title over there to Carlito and let them squeak out a win. And Dom helps them with that, and that just brings them over to Dom's side fully. because Dom didn't abandon the Dom when Dom was losing. He's not abandoning his group like Finn did. That's gonna be my pseudo prediction for Monday. Other than that, easy. Other than that, it could be like JD taking a pin because Finn is all in his sucky phase. But I put up a picture on the X of pin Balor, which is Finn as a bowling ball pin, which is what I found a while ago. It's pretty funny that Dom's gonna be staring at Finn in the clubhouse. You thought what you said, you follow you would win. Somebody needs to hit him with his words so hard on Monday. I need that. That's gonna be cathartic. Then we swing over to the women's United States title. Chelsea wins. Um, full disclosure, I was kind of pulling for Michin. I like them both, but I was pulling more for Michin because I know her from TNA days and things like that. So same thing with Chelsea, but I was pulling more for Michin. Hopefully Michin can do some other stuff and get a title later on down the line. But Chelsea wins. That's good. That's a good choice because I think that also rewards her for her hard work too and taking that gnarly bump at Money in the Bank, if y'all remember that bump. And then Cody versus KO. This got so overbooked at the match. Why did we need two ref bumps for that match? I was expecting RKO to show up to attack Kevin, but he didn't do that. But Cody gets the pin. He actually cheated to win. Are we finally going to get Homelander Cody Rhodes? He cheated with the chair, but he got the win. And then we got the post match shenanigans of Kevin doing a package pile driver on Cody and Cody getting stretchered out. That is still a legal move in the WWE in the WWE. So of course we get Triple H out there, and if y'all look at the X or any of the social media, you'll see Triple H and Kevin Owens getting into a shoving match. So it's going to be interesting how things go on. I wonder how they're going to address that because SmackDown was recorded yesterday. It was a double taping, so I'm wondering how they're going to address that. Maybe this is their excuse to write off Cody for that Friday because he's just have Kevin suspended and then Cody still being evaluated just to cover for them not being there on Friday with this coming up taped show. And then we had Sami versus Drew. Like I said, that ending was really abrupt. I knew Drew was gonna win that. They got this interesting storyline where Drew is targeting all of the OG bloodline. I guess he's gonna go through them one by one until it gets to Roman. And I guess he's gonna join forces with maybe Kevin and maybe Seth or something like that. And that's how all the bloodline come together to fight. I'm guessing in the future. But it feels Drew's story feels kind of similar to Kevin's story, and it might be by design. But right now, I'm not feeling it on Drew's side just yet because it's like, why are you spinning this up out of all of a sudden? I can see it if Seth was doing it because that's more recent. But with Drew, you just got it's like you had to latch on to something to hate after losing to CM Punk or something. You know, he can't go after CM Punk, but he can go, rude at Bloodline. Yeah, I don't know. But let's see if we got some questions or any comments. I thank you all for the likes. Okay. Yours says nice moment from Raquelito. Yeah, that was really cute with them. If they do want to go with some sort of romantic thing with them, I don't have a problem with it. Hey, we need more romance and wrestling storylines anyway. But they were funny. Senor says KO destroying Coding was a good ending. Yeah, that really needs to be on TV. I don't know if they were just pressed for time, but that really needs to be on TV. Where you could see it instead of it just pushed to just push to social media. They probably just need if they're doing Saturday night main event, looks like they're gonna do that in January in San Antonio. They need to do an overrun. Give them like 10-minute overrun to account for that. Marcus Venus says, very good show, but way too many commercials. Yeah, way too many commercials. and then they picture available, and then they didn't use it. So it's like production wise, it seemed like something was off. Like maybe something got changed or something like that. Let's see. Kayla says, "So glad Liv won tonight. Love Liv Dom and Raquel. Shea Bria had to get her head in." Yeah, that was my main point of irritation. Everything was fine when people say that, oh, you talk about Rhea so much. I'm like, I have to talk about Rhea. She sticks her nose into everything. And if I make a point, I have to compare to her. Like I've been comparing like face turns. So I compared Roman's face turns to Rhea, and then I compared Tiffany because it looks like she's going through like an organic face turn from what happened like on SmackDown. So I'm comparing it, and people like, oh, you just talk about Rhea all the time. I'm like, if y'all stalk my social media account, you know that's not true. But because I talk about a lot of stuff, it's just that Rhea pops up a lot because you have to talk about her because she always pops up. If she didn't pop up tonight, I would have talked about her during Saturday Night Main Event. I would have been happy. But if she's going to stick her big head into everything, I'm going to have to talk about her because she's just irritating. They couldn't let Dom, Liv, and Raquel's moment breathe. Let them have a celebration. Give us the moment of Dom checking in on Liv, which by the way, if y'all look at social media again, you got to see Dom checking on Liv's nose. Like right after Rhea right there. So that was really cute. See, we needed that. That is their group. That's the couple. Let the fans have that moment. I don't care if Saturday Night Main Event was going to be their first exposure to Rhea. It have been done a different way. But instead, you got Rhea showing her big head up into everything. You get her overshadowing Io's loss. And then you have Rhea interrupting a moment that should have been for Liv, Dom, and Raquel. And people still think, oh, well, Iyo could have won the Royal Rumble. Iyo cannot carry a storyline from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. The only reason why Bailey worked with Iyo is because they did a very long storyline with Bailey being on the outside, and then they had Bailey kind of working with Iyo, who could talk English. So it wasn't just a straight run from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania with just Iyo. Iyo doesn't have Iyo has Dakota Kai, but why would you insert Dakota Kai into this promo when she's going for her own title, which is the Intercontinental title? Bailey is the only one that made that build with Iyo work, and even then, it wasn't all that great. That's why I never understand why people want this another Iyo title reign or another Rhea title reign. Rhea, we always know why that sucked. She had no challengers because she would just blow through everybody. And then she would be more involved with Judgment Day stuff, wouldn't defend the title at all. Iyo sucked. I'm sorry. Io's title reign sucked. The only good match out of that was probably her Bianca one and then the one with Bailey. Everything else was was trash. And you want to put the title back on her, Iyo is a good wrestler, but it doesn't translate into stories, which is what the WWE is pushing for now. Iyo would be great if you're just going off of matches. Yeah. And you're using that to push a story forward. But just more storylines where you need to be talking and doing promos and things like that, nah. So Iyo, like I am really not still not getting why people want her to win the Royal Rumble. There are lots of other people that I would like to see win the Royal Rumble other than her. Iyo could be doing something else. See here, Senor said Carlito didn't appearance on his entrance. Yeah, it was just JD, and I have a theory that JD is a mole for Dom. Like I said, for these past few weeks and months, JD's been a real one for Dom, and I'm thinking he like from last week, JD is acting as the intermediary and mole for Dom because Dom pretty much sent JD after Finn last week, and Carlito stayed with La Familia. So I'm thinking JD is the mole, and they're just gonna wait for the right time to strike. Marcus Phoenix says Drew versus Sami should have been a squash. Yeah, that probably should have been a squash. I would have not had that match on the show at all. Like they could have just put they could have just put in like a talk show segment. I'd rather have like Jesse DeBardi Bambira interview people for that time and then give extra time to all the other matches. They didn't need to have that match. I'm not even sure why they rushed it to Saturday night main event. That could have been just a match on Raw. 97 says that was a good match. I was happy that no one got involved. Yeah, hindsight being 2020, I'm glad nobody got involved because now Liv haters are all in their feelings about Iyo being pin cleaned, and it's very cathartic. Like, hey, y'all asked for it. Like, y'all asked for it that you wanted Liv to win clean. Why isn't Liv winning clean? Okay, she went clean. Now what do y'all want to say? You can't be pick. You can't. Beggars can't be choosers. If she was gonna get a win, she had to get against somebody. I mean, who else is there to pin? I mean, she already did with Dakota. That was a really clean claim, but she's already pinned Dakota, and Cody's already been pinned. So who else is there left face wise? See, that's another thing too. For depleting, you can't switch the title off of Liv because there's a lot more faces than heels. Who will Iyo face as a champ if she's a face? Who will Rhea face? I mean, they always do this transfer portal jazz, but still, it still had the same problem. Rhea decimated the women's division where hardly nobody else, except for maybe one person like Bianca, can face her. Rhea needs to be away from the title picture and away to let other people build back up. And if Triple H was past the booker that I thought he was, to be doing that. Rhea should be able to exist without the title. Because right now she's pulling a Charlie Flair, and we all know what happened with Charlie Flair. Charlie Flair really got people upset because all she did was exist for the title. But at least in Charlie's case, like I've said before, at least with Charlie Flair, she would at least be taking pins. At least she would get run down in a promo, and she would at least, people would be able to fight her and get an upper hand on her from time to time. And that's Charlie Flair. Rhea, we don't get that. Like, if you're gonna be going the Charlie Flair route, at least she should be having more vulnerable moments like Charlie did. And that's somebody that always had the title around her. But we don't get that with Rhea. Cherie says now people can shut up about her not winning clean. You would think, but then now if everybody's complaining about her winning clean, so Liv can't win. It's kind of like with Dom. Dom can't win either. Either he would be out there, and then people would complain about him being super tied into the women's division when he wasn't, and then when he's not out there, people wanted him to be out there. Why couldn't he interfere? Like they can't win for losers. You do it one way, everybody get mad. You do it the other way, everybody get mad. And I'm really starting to think that a certain subset of fans are just cheering for one person and not for wrestling as a whole. And I don't want to be that person that gatekeeps because you got to start somewhere with wrestling and watching wrestling and becoming a fan. But it's really becoming obvious that for some people, they just exist for one person and one person only, and wrestling does not exist like that. You have to give. There's a lot of give and take with pro wrestling. You're not gonna get what you want all the time. You have to, and that's just some things you just gotta learn to deal with. Thanks for tuning in to the Wrestling Receipts podcast. Remember to follow me on the X at WMaven WWE and on TikTok at WriterMaven for more wrestling insights and live reactions every Monday night after Raw. Until next time, I'm just saying.